Menhir.
The second stage, Menhir, takes its name from the mysterious standing stones. Only those who stand tall against these megaliths will be victorious. The giant walls that appear almost at random will separate the true climbers from the amateurs. Go forth and use your expertise and intuition to forge a path.
All right.
Menhir requires 3 gold prizes to unlock, and it stands 50 steps taller than Altar. It stands at 200 steps tall. It is also significantly more challenging than Altar.
Stage 2, the Menhir. Babel stands defiant, thrusting into the sky. Will it be conquered? Vincent Brooks. I'm sure he will make it through to the finish line. Now it's time to challenge Babel. 3, 2, 1, start.
Ignore that obvious cut there. So as you can see right off the bat, Menhir is significantly more narrow than Altar. Menhir relies on you creating footing for yourself constantly. So normally, I would go down there and pull a block out, and then drop down and climb the stairs again, but because there was a crack block there, I didn't want to chance it because it was going to make the one column of blocks fall. It's stuff like that that you have to really have foresight for. Otherwise, this pattern is actually kind of easy because you can just do this, pull this one out to make 3 blocks of footing instead of 2, and then drop down and climb the staircase you just climbed up earlier.
New record, new record. New record, new record.
Another good thing I can say about the Babel stages is that they all have pretty bitchin' music. So, even if you're tired of a level, at least you still have good music. Pretty sure I pushed that block there to keep that one right column. See, this is kind of a messy situation where the right column is going to constantly fall.
New record, new record. New record.
But all is not lost, because we could just push this block. Don't do it. Don't do it past me. There you go. It's just like, you're about to push that to the right. What are you thinking?
New record, new record. New record.
Again, Babel is about learning a procedure. If Altar didn't teach you how to collapse correctly, this stage might do a really good job at doing that.
New record, new record.
And you don't want to pull out that right side because then that block that I just used for footing won't come out. And now we have an unmovable block. We also have drop blocks, but unmovable blocks are much more dangerous than trap blocks, which sounds stupid, but, you know. If anything, trap blocks are probably the least threatening blocks in the game, aside from just normal blocks.
New record.
So in this situation, I'm thinking about what I want to do, because we do have an unmovable block there, and we definitely have to move the blocks around in order to get the unmovable block to move.
New record.
And this was a mistake. I did not want to climb on that. It's just the... I don't know. Sometimes the game's controls can be a pain in the ass still.
New record. New record. New record to avoid being skewered.
Oh wow. It's almost as if I've never seen those trap blocks before.
New record. New record.
Thankfully, we don't really run into any other type of block on Menhir other than what we've already seen. It isn't until Obelisk when we start running into all of the blocks that we saw on the Imperio.
New record. New record. New record. New record. New record. 60 steps. New record.
You might have also noticed that these stages take a long time to complete. Yeah, they're pretty tall, so that's kind of a given.
New record. New record. New record. New record. New record. New record.
I was wondering why I was pulling those blocks out on the left, and then it was just like, oh, so I could make a column on the right and tornado off of it, which is pretty damn good.
New record. Gone up 70 steps.
And that was also a pretty close one.
New record.
So we're going to push that to make that right side collapse. Then we're going to make the left side collapse, and we still have a fork. We can't leave that fork unattended.
New record. New record. New record. New record.
And sometimes the worst patterns you get are kind of these like checkerboard patterns where they're like just holes. And you just kind of have to work with them.
New record. New record. 80 steps. Amazing.
Because even collapsing them doesn't really do a lot to them.
New record. New record. New record.
But it does look like that we've gained some more stable footing.
Red with the gold head. New record. New record.
And we have an easy path up the right side here.
New record. New record.
If you're so focused on dropping the stages, you probably don't notice stuff like that.
New record. 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 New record.
There's an easy path up the right side, and I don't take it for some reason.
New record, new record. New record, new record. Just hit 110.
And that kind of sucks. Crack blocks in general just really suck.
New record, new record.
Yeah, going up that right side's not looking like a good idea. That's probably not a good idea either. Oh man, that works too. There's no right way to. There's no one right way to climb the tower.
New record. New record. New record, new record. New record, new record, new record.
It's looking like the path is getting rather narrow again.
New record, 130 steps. New record. New record, new record, new record. New record. When will this be over?
See, here's an instance where I just got Inazuma trapped there.
New record. New record, new record, new record. 140. New record. New record, new record. New record. New record. New record, new record. New record. New record. New record, new record, new record.
Babel looks a little bit easier than it actually is.
New record. New record.
Unfortunately, you kind of don't really learn how difficult it actually is
New record, new record.
until you've played it for yourself.
New record.
Especially given the fact that you're watching a completed run of the level without any failures at all. Well, not until the end of the video, that is. Which even then, I feel like a lot of stuff gets lost in translation. The biggest thing that gets lost in translation of that is how long it really takes to complete these levels.
New record. Obviously stepping.
Because we're at step 160
New record, new record.
and almost 14 minutes of playing this level. My best record it says I got up to 175 steps and didn't beat it. It really sucks when you go for something for that long and then you just don't win. But it looks like we're reaching the ending. And we got a freaking checkerboard pattern with unmovable blocks. But that was just one last hard puzzle to do, and we're home free.
New record.
Here I go.
What an accomplishment for Vincent Brooks. The Menhir is over.
Ooh, that was pretty impressive.
So it looks like I ranked in the 500s again. Not that that's a bad thing. 532. Oh my god. That...
New record.
See, I didn't really show it, but that death kind of comes from the fact that the game straight up gave me some really hard patterns. Yeah, there's a fair amount of luck when it comes to Babel, straight up. If you get... Yeah, that was another thing. That was another one of those. Straight up, if you get a really bad set of patterns, it's a straight up reset. Kind of like how in the Imperio you have to reset if your surprise blocks turn out to be bombs. And this is another fork. We don't want these forks. This is why you don't want these forks. Because this shit happens. And when this shit happens, you end up doing this. And this. And now you have nowhere to go. Don't even try ascending up this way anymore. Your better bet is to push out that crack block, somehow make it over to the right side, and push out that block, and just make the whole thing collapse. Otherwise, this is just too narrow to navigate. And I think after a certain point, I just straight up give up, because this is just... This is ridiculous. And you can't collapse it too much because the blocks in the back will fall. And this is also a very unfortunate situation where I had a fork, and because of that, I had to go down and collapse that side of the stage to get the whole stage to collapse, and it ended up being in vain anyway, because this pattern is impossible to work with. If that block was not immovable, if that block in between the trap blocks was not immovable, this would be easier. This would be doable. But it's not. The unmovable block has to move, and it can't. And it most certainly can't now. And then this was a shitty idea. I should have looked down before I actually pulled that block out. Yeah, that just happened. That just happened. This also just happened.
Pause. New record.
Sometimes retrying just feels better than straight up dying. There's kind of a bit of satisfaction in knowing that the level really didn't do you in at the end. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Why didn't I just pull that block out? Wow. Okay.
The time to be